So my name's Emma, and this is my first exhibition in China. The title of the exhibition is called Everything Looks Like a Nail to a Hammer. And that is also the title of this piece, which is the newest work I've made for this show, specifically for this exhibition. And the phrase, everything looks like a nail to a hammer, is kind of a funny little turn of phrase. And what it means is every problem has a different solution depending on who you ask, basically. And so I had that phrase in mind when I made this piece. Obviously, it's a girl climbing a ladder, and she's about to hit a nail with a hammer. And then down here at the bottom, we have this devil and angel figure. So it's vaguely allegorical, but it's more about a personal mythology and just trying to keep it a little bit humorous. These two characters at the bottom are sort of indifferent to the decision she's making up top. They're checking their watch. It looks like they're a bit impatient trying to get out of here. And the characters in this piece are named Lucy, Celeste, and this girl at the top is Olivia. And something I really like about this painting is it looks like it has 3 figures in it, but there are actually 7 figures in the painting, if you count the shadows. So there's a lot going on here. And right next to the newest piece I've made is the oldest piece in the show. This is from about 3 or 4 years ago. And this character's name is Alice. And so you can see the composition is a bit more simple, but again, we have this shadow on the wall. So it has this feeling that there are 2 figures in the painting almost. And shadow is something I've always been really interested in playing with these works. And so then right over here, I think of these 3 as a kind of a grouping. That's why they're all hung next to each other, because they're all speaking about light and shadow a lot. And I think about the 3 kinds of light that exist in painting, which are artificial, natural, and divine. And so I create all of my compositions digitally in a simulated environment. And so I really feel like that kind of covers all 3 different kinds of light. Obviously, it's simulating natural light, but it's the light from a computer screen, which is artificial. And then the divine light, it's this idea of some kind of godliness or creationism, which is a running theme in all of my work. And so that comes into play because I've created this environment. And so in a way, I'm playing God, and that's where the divine light comes from. This character is named Ashlyn, and I've painted her a few times. This is maybe the 4th time she's appeared in one of my paintings. And she's always a little bit moody, always a little bit under the weather, never really in a good mood. And so this obviously represents one of my selves. All of these paintings represent kind of an allegorical avatar version of myself. I refer to this as an ongoing self-portraiture project, as well as a universe creation project. This character is named Judith, and this is the first of 2 paintings I've made of her, and she's sort of the warrior. And this painting I made a moment in my life when I maybe wasn't feeling too strong or too powerful. And so I created this proxy to sort of take over that part of my personality. And this is Pearl. And I just love the idea of a mermaid who couldn't swim or isn't a very good swimmer. And so I've done, this was the first in a series I wound up doing of Pearl. And this piece debuted in Art Miami 2 years ago. And then I just fell in love with this figure so much that I wound up doing an entire series for Marfa Invitational, which is an art fair that happens in the desert in West Texas. And I just loved the idea of a mermaid in the desert. And it kind of maybe not even intentionally became a commentary on the environment and the way the climate is changing and the way that certain species will need to adapt. And so Pearl is my little fish out of water in a way. Over here, we have Lily Rose and Boris. And I sort of loved the idea that this was a character in very contemporary dress. She looks like a modern day girl, you know, but she's in this like battle scene with the mountains and bows and arrows. And, you know, this is obviously a very emotive scene. There's it's very evocative, like there's some kind of loss taking place. And this piece was actually made for the TV show The Idol. And it appears in an episode. It's hanging in the office at the record company. And so the star of that show was Lily Rose Depp. And so I took a lot of inspiration from her physically to create this character. And then I named the character after her. And then over here, this piece was originally we showed this from my solo exhibition last year in Los Angeles during Freeze at Half Gallery. And the theme of that show, it was called Wild at Heart. And so there was a lot of animal imagery and animals interacting with humans. And I feel like I know this girl. I see this girl in New York all the time. And, you know, obviously I have my Starbucks. And so this is, again, a little bit of self-portraiture coming into play here. And actually, the fun fact is the background of this scene is actually a 3D scan taken from the Upper East Side in New York City. And I integrated it into the virtual environment that I was building. So this is a real New York scene. And New York is obviously very near and dear to my heart. So this is kind of this painting is an homage to New York in many ways. And then finally over here, we have Sam, who's my little tomboy, which definitely also represents a facet of my personality. It's one that maybe doesn't appear too obviously all the time, but that's why we have avatars, I suppose. And so I don't do a lot of smiling figures. My figures are often a little bit moody or pensive or trapped in thought or very introspective. And so I love that Sam is she's a little bit more fun. She's a little bit more carefree. And there's some nostalgia in this piece for a past version of myself, perhaps.